learners, welcome to the another session of environmental and occupational hazards. Today we are going to discuss about chemical hazards. In that chemical hazards also flammable chemical materials we have to discuss. So hazardous materials and waste which are a part of many working situations and also found in many types of facilities and then job sites. So it is very important for employees to know how to recognize these potentially dangerous substances and how to use and dispose of these properly. So applications of chemical science, they have contributed significantly to the advancement of the human civilization. And also we present day we are experiencing with a growing understanding and the ability to manipulate chemical molecules in the post World War II, and then chemist was considered a societal problem solver. So they synthesized crop enhancing agricultural chemicals to ensure a constant and viable food supply. They also played a significant role in the eradication of deadly diseases by developing life-saving pharmaceuticals and chemical pesticides. So chemists also developed innovative plastics and also synthetic fibers they are using in both industrial and consumer product. So the chemical industry that has been a vital sector of the modern industrialized economy. So the production, processing and also the use of chemicals in modern society, that means in nowadays, and also it has been accompanied by global scale environmental pollution, natural resource depletion and also health impacts. So the depletion of the stratospheric ozone layer by chlorofluorocarbons, they are also chemicals, and the bioaccumulation of chlorinated organic pesticides in the food chain, that clearly indicates the need for more comprehensive considerations of the potential impacts of chemicals which are using in the society. So now we have to understand that what is a chemical hazard. So hazard we have already experienced in the physical hazards. A chemical hazard is one phenomena of the occupational hazards that is caused by the exposure to the chemical substances either in the form of liquid or gas in the workplace. So chemical exposure in certain occupations that causes the acute or the long-term deleterious effects on the health. So when exposed to a chemical substances that act in three different ways. That means one is the local action, that means the part which is exposed to that one, and the second one is inhalation which we can inhale inside, and the third one is ingestion. So that means it is inhalation or either by the, it will enter our body through any cuts or the damages which occur on our body. So if suppose if you will see the pictographs of these hazards, they are the labeling systems. So that alerts people at a glance that there is a hazardous chemicals which is present. So we have to move away from that. So these symbols, if you are observing carefully the screen, that the symbols of these chemical hazards, that will help you to identify whether a chemical that is going to be in use, or sometimes it may have potentially cause the physical harm or harm to the general environment. So the symbols are very distinctive in nature, and then they are also shaped like diamonds with red borders, so that immediately we can catch that something is there. So there are several signs for the chemical hazards. So for example, if suppose if it is an explosive hazard, so there is a symbol of exploding bomb symbol. And if suppose if it is a flammable chemical, then there is a flame symbol. If it is an oxidizing chemical, flame above a circle. And if it is a corrosive, and then corrosion of table as well as hand, they have been given, they have been symbolized. If you will notice in this picture, there is a acute toxicity chemical is there. Then they will provide you the skull and also the crossbones. So that indicates the acute toxicity. And also hazardous to environment. If that sort of chemical is there, it is symbolized by dead tree as well as fish. So that means that implies that it is that chemical or the particular substance is hazardous to environment. And sometimes if it is a health hazard or hazardous to the ozone layer, so there is an exclamation mark will be given. And if it is a serious health hazard, then it is a cross on a human body. So these are the some of the symbols that has been identified, and then it is in practice. And sometimes some chemicals which are in the gaseous form, that is gases which are under pressure, so there is a gas cylinder symbol they will be given. So that is why these things, the pictograms, the globally harmonized system, that is the GHS standards we have to use. So these pictograms for the flammable liquids should be incorporated with other hazard pictograms at the entrance of the areas that containing the flammable materials. So today we are going to discuss about some of the flammable chemicals, and then they are posing some of the chemical hazards. So flammable liquids they are not in active use, but they should be stored inside fire resistant flammable storage cabinets wherever they are available. And also they have to segregate the flammable as well as combustible liquids from other hazardous chemicals like corrosives and then oxidizers to minimize the hazards. So the flammable liquid storages areas, they should be labeled properly with a font size that there is no less than 1 inch in height. So there is a specificity. And laboratory or the labs entrances that containing the hazardous chemicals, they should display a National Fire Protection Association diamond labeled with appropriate hazardous class ratings. So flammable material, that is a fire or explosion, and health hazards of handling, storage, and also the using the flammable liquids that can be generally eliminated or minimized by strict observance of the safety procedures. So this safety guide that provides a basic information that is applicable to the most areas which are using the flammable or combustible liquids in their daily operations. Dear learner, we have to understand that what is exactly the flammable material. So any flammable material, whether it is a liquid or gas, they are the most common hazardous chemicals, they are found in the laboratory. So the primary hazard associated with the flammable liquids are their ability to readily ignite and burn, that means it catch fire. So the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, it defines a flammable liquid as a liquid or a gas whose flash point does not exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit or otherwise 38 degrees centigrade. And then these combustible liquids which are defined as liquids, that is liquids which are having a flash point at or above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So flammable and combustible liquids that exhibit multiple health hazards besides the fire. That means not only fire, it can cause other health hazards. So any flammable chemical, maybe it is a solid or liquid or vapor or gas, that ignites or catch fire easily and also burn rapidly in the presence of air. So consult the appropriate material safety data sheet. Normally we will abbreviate it as an MSDs before beginning the work with the flammables. So a material safety data sheet is a safety document that is required by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, that is OSHA, that contains data about the physical properties of particular hazardous substances. These MSD sheets are created for a number of hazardous materials like compressed gases, flammables and combustible liquids and oxidizing materials and poisonous or infectious materials and corrosive materials and dangerously reactive materials. So the main purpose of this MSD is providing the information to the observers or to the employees that it will convey the chemical safety and also hazardous information to the end user. That means employees exposed to hazardous chemicals and employees those who have the stored dangerous chemicals, and also the emergency responders like firefighters, hazardous material crew, and also emergency medical technicians. So these are the critical components of the United States also, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. So they will have the hazard communication standard that states that anyone who might handle, work with or be exposed to hazardous materials, they have access to the material safety data sheets, because this document definitely provides the details of the toxicity, use, storage, handling and emergency procedures of hazardous substances. So these sheets are describes the chemical safety and hazardous that may be involved with the product and safety measures that should be taken in order to minimize or avoid adverse outcomes that may result from the chemical exposures, and then chemicals in the workplace, and sometimes improper storage or also handling of hazardous substances and also chemical hazards. So material safety data sheet information is intended to provide employees and emergency personnel with safety measures for handling or working with hazardous substances in a safe manner. So these are most important criteria to have these MSDs before going into the workplace. So flammable chemicals, again they are classified according to the flash point, boiling point, fire point and also auto ignition temperature. So we have already seen that flash point. It is the lowest temperature at which a flammable liquid's vapor burns or catches fire when ignited. And if we will consider the boiling point, it is a temperature at which the vapor pressure of a liquid is equals to the atmospheric pressure under which the liquid vaporizes. So the flammable liquids with low boiling points, sometimes they have present in the special fire hazards. And the third point we have to consider for the flammable material is the fire point. So fire point is the temperature at which the flammable liquid will burn, that means catch fire. Then fourth criteria is the auto ignition temperature. This is the lowest temperature at which a substance will ignite without an ignition source. Some of the conditions for the fire are the improper use of the flammable liquids that can cause of a fire, and the conditions must be exist for the fire to occur, that is a flammable material like fuel that must be present in sufficient concentration to support a fire, and oxygen or otherwise any oxidizer must be present. So an ignition source, that is a heat or spark that is sufficient enough to catch fire, must be present. So when working with flammables, always take care to minimize the vapors because that acts as a fuel. And then fire and explosion hazards, if we will consider, many flammable liquids are volatile in nature. So that means they will evaporate. So these vapors which combined with air and then not in the liquid that ignite and burn, that vapors will catch fire. So increased temperature of a flammable liquid generally causes an increase in the rate at which the vapors are evolved. So normally flammable liquid vapors are heavier than air. So normally once it is heavier, they will settle to the lower levels, not easily diffusing with the air unless there is a sufficient movement of air. So explosions normally occur when the lower explosive limit, that is LEL, is reached, and also the source of the ignition is present. So LEL is the minimum concentration of a flammable liquid vapor in air below which the propagation of flame does not occur on contact with the source of ignition. So now we will come to the storage of this type of materials inside buildings. So that means flammables or the combustible liquids should not be stored so as to limit the use of the exits or the stairways or areas normally used for the safe egress of the people. So sometimes it is the containers or the flammables or the combustible liquid should be stored in the containers that will be provided by the manufacturers. So that liquids in pure form or in the combined forms should be transferred to approved containers only and should be labeled properly by indicating the hazards. And also the storage containers which are approved containers for the flammables and combustible liquids should be stored in an explosion proof cabinet or explosion proof refrigerator unless all the traces of such chemicals have been removed from the container. So, some of the health hazards also we have to see. So, these are the primarily we can see that skin irritants. What they will do? They will destroy the tissue, and some others are skin sensitizers. So, the inhalation hazard exists in all cases varying in degree in accordance with the concentration and the toxicity of that vapors. Some atmospheres containing flammable vapors in concentrations below their lower explosive limit, they may still be harmful to health because of the vapors are toxic in nature. So, now we will see that some other flammable hazardous substances, that is a liquid solvents. So, all organic solvents mostly they are most hazardous chemicals in the workplace like ethers, alcohols or toluenes. So, these are the some of the examples, and then they are highly volatile in nature and flammable. And perchlorinated solvents also like that are there, like carbon tetrachloride. They are non-flammable, but most hydrogen containing chlorinated solvents like chloroform, they are flammable in nature. So, when exposed to heat or flame, these chlorinated solvents may produce carbon monoxide, chlorine, and then phosgene, and also highly toxic gases. So, always it is better to use volatile and flammable solvents in an area with good ventilation or preferably in a fume hood to avoid this type of potential damages. So, we are not supposed to use ether or other highly flammable solvents in a room with open flames or some other ignition sources are present like non-intrinsically safe fixtures. And solvent exposure hazards like the health hazards associated with solvents by several routes, that is the inhalation of solvents in many, it may cause the bronchial irritation, dizziness, and central nervous system damage or depression, nausea, headache, sometimes coma, and ultimately it leads to death. Prolonged or the long time exposure to the excessive concentration of the solvent vapors, that will cause the liver or kidney damage. So, the consumption of the alcoholic beverages that can enhance these effects. So, one has to observe. And then skin contact with the solvents, that also leads to defatting or the drying and skin irritation. And then ingestion of the solvent, that can also cause the severe toxicological effects like so that sort of things happen immediately, we have to seek medical attention compulsory. So, one of the important threshold for the chemicals are the odor. That means they exceeds the acceptable exposure limits. So, if we can smell it immediately, that means we may be overexposed. There should be an increase in ventilation immediately. So, some examples I would like to give this type of solvents are the chloroform, benzene, carbon tetrachloride, and methylene chloride. And some solvents like benzene are known and suspected as a carcinogens, that means cancer causing agents. So, by reducing the solvent exposure to decrease the effect of the solvent exposure, so substitute the hazardous solvents with the less toxic or the hazardous solvents whenever there is a possibility, can be reduce these type of potential hazards. For example, using of the hexane instead of diethyl ether, benzene or chlorinated solvent is most important. And gaseous chemicals, that is compressed gas cylinders that contains differential pressures of inert, toxic, flammable, oxidizing, corrosive or combinations of gases. So, care should be taken care proper in using and then handling and storage. Storing of these compressed gas cylinders is required because of the high potential for the severe incidents. So, the gas properties also should be known to each and everyone, those who are working in that area, and understand the properties, uses and safety precautions before using any gas or mixture. So consult the safety data sheets SDS and also manufacturers specification sheets for the safety information, and engineer, assemble and then check equipment properly. Ensure that the valves and the piping lines and other equipment should be designed and rated for the full pressure and also temperature range of operation. So only use fittings as they are specified for also by the manufacturers. So continuous inspection and also leak checks for the all equipment for using at full capacity, and also utilize facilities engineering and then gas cabinets and facilities of the exhaust and also fume hoods. They are highly required for the ventilation. So sometimes we won't observe that gas cylinder brackets, clamps and then restraints and supports that should be needed for the storage, which properly monitored. And also monitoring systems may be appropriate for the highly hazardous gases. And now we have to understand that how do these chemicals get into the body. So in order to cause health problems particularly, the chemicals must enter our body first. Without entering in our body, it cannot cause serious damage. So that's why there are three main routes of exposure or ways to the chemicals that can get into our body. First one is the inhalation, that is a breathing. So breathing in chemical gases are mist or dust which are present in the air, or sometimes it is a skin or eye contact. So the chemicals which enters on the skin or touches the skin or into the eyes, they can damage the skin and also be absorbed through the skin into the bloodstream. And the third way is the swallowing, that is the ingestion. So normally it will be happens normally when chemicals have spilled or settled onto the food, beverages. Sometimes it is a cigarette smoking or otherwise sometimes it is on hands. So once the chemicals have entered our body, some can move into the bloodstream immediately and reach the internal target organs like lungs, liver, kidneys or the nervous system. So what forms do chemicals take into? So that means whether which variety. So that means what is the type of that chemical substances. It may be any form. It may be a solid, it may be a liquid or dust, vapor, gases, fibers, mist, or sometimes it is a fume. So the form of the substance is also most important factor, and how it enters into our body and what harm it can cause. So any chemical that also change forms, we know that gas into liquids. For example, liquid solvents are there that can evaporate. That means they will enter into the liquid to the gaseous form, and it will give off the vapors. So and that we can inhale. So solids and liquids which are easier to recognize because they can be seen. Dust and mist may or may not be visible sometimes depending upon their size and concentration. Fumes, vapors and then gases are also usually invisible. And what are the health effects that chemicals cause normally? So we have seen that there are so many hazards which are having associated with the chemicals, and the effects of the toxic chemicals on our body either may be acute or chronic. Acute may be that is a short term, that may be immediately it can be seen, and also immediately after the exposure to the chemicals. Sometimes it is a very minor like nose or the throat irritation, they could be serious like eye damage or passing out from the chemical vapors, and then immediately if what will happen, sometimes it will convert it into chronic, that is a long term exposure. So it may take years to slow up. So they are usually caused by the regular exposure to a harmful substances over a long duration of the time. So these effects are permanent. So some chemicals that cause both acute and chronic effects also. For example, breathing solvent vapors might make you dizziness and then immediately, and breathing the same vapors all the time for many years, they may cause the liver damage. So dear learner, so with all these effects and then hazardous systems and then mitigation measures we have seen. So now I would like to conclude that we have discussed how chemical products are instrumental in providing food, shelter and making us more pleasant and more comfortable. But if we will use or misuse or mishandle these, the same products, they can be hazardous and also put us in troubles. So we have already discussed that basic exposure to the chemicals that can cause a systemic reactions, and that can also follow the inhalation, ingestion, absorption through the skin. And also the some cancer causing chemicals we have discussed, various types of flammable chemical substances and their hazardous effects we have checked upon. So I think you must have benefited with this session. We will come up with some other issues of the environmental and occupational hazards in the next session. Thank you.